And as you guys said before, old C9 had a problem against compLexiy. You know, ZP, you said it was kryptonite. New C9, you know, definitely looks stronger here in this matchup against coL.
I mean, at least on that map, we saw dive comp work from FaZe against compLexiy. So Cloud9 ran the same thing. They were to take first point relatively easily. And then compLexiy switched, after compLexiy switched into Winston to try to counter Cloud9. Cloud9 switched themselves into Roadhog for Mendo, and that countered what compLexiy was doing. So I think that Cloud9 outcomped compLexiy in that first map.
All right.
So next map is going to be the one and only Eichenwald, and I do feel like compLexiy has had a lot of experience on this map in recent times where clearly it has been a favorite of theirs. They've been prioritizing it in tournaments when possible. And part of it probably comes down to the fact that, again, Sombra can be really effective at breaking first point pretty quickly. Doesn't always work out for compLexiy, and certainly teams have gotten wise to it, but I think right now in this tournament, they still want to go with what they've practiced, and they bring C9 here to Eichenwald.
It wouldn't surprise me if Cloud9 runs McCree yet again on defense here with Triple Tank. I think it worked really well the first time. They were able to hold off long enough. Then they took high ground, and they didn't let Torque get off ult for 2 to 3 fights, as you mentioned earlier, Golden Boy. And wasting all that time was a big part of why they were able to hold it. I mean, Torque probably should have used ult and or switched earlier. Maybe compLexiy doesn't make that same mistake again here.
Yeah, will lightning strike twice is the question. And, you know, I would like to see coL answer back here, making this one, you know, 1-1. But, hey, you know, anything's possible in this Cloud9 roster. I mean, I got to highlight Rib again. He has been a joy to spectate, at least from my perspective. I've been watching a lot of Rib. As a guy who plays Reinhardt quite a bit, I love watching, you know, guys like him. Why? Wait, what? Yeah. You know what?
You know, you guys have such tension between you. I kind of feel like I'm just the third wheel at this point where, you know, you guys should just spend a little bit of time in a private room and really get all your feelings out. I'm just noting that this is the third-party perspective.
Okay, mediator ZP. Thank you.
Do your placement, ZP.
Oh, my goodness.
Do your placements.
Anywho, he's definitely, though, going to be a player that you got to look out for. But, yeah, it seems like they're going to stick to Torque on the Sombra and do what they feel is right and what works. So will this be the case as we begin Eichenwald here with our one and only compLexiy on the attack? CP, what are you expecting here, man? You know, I think it's just going to be very similar to Hollywood, where they want that, you know, that Torque EMP right away.
I'm expecting more of the same here, where Torque will be looking for the EMP right away, but remember, there's always a double threat in compLexiy. Harblue will be fishing for hooks, and we've seen plenty of time where compLexiy doesn't even need the EMP to start things out here, because why? Harblue gets an early pickoff, and then Torque just comes in from the back. But you take a look at where he's at right now. He has an EMP.
Yeah,
the health pack just gave to him. He has it incredibly quickly, under 40 seconds. Yeah. He's going to be coming in over the top and looking for that EMP engage while no one else has ultimates to deal with it.
Nicholas and Harblue actually were going back and forth with the health pack there, and that pretty much just set them up for success as they begin to progress forward. Surefour going up against Harblue here. And, you know, Surefour, of course, a player that has had some phenomenal plays in the past, and definitely looking to replicate that success here yet again. But Surefour, though, will get picked off by Shake Zenyatta. And meanwhile, Rib is holding things down here at the objective. You are going to have, I believe that was going to be like a lone Torque in the back lines here. Here comes Rib, and as a matter of fact, he's going to get nano boosted. Was hacked, though, for the time being. Joe Meister does clean up that kill, and compLexiy right back onto this point here.
Well, the Transcendence will be coming out here for compLexiy. They want to keep the pressure on. C9 has been really doing a valiant job of staying on this point, especially after that early EMP. And Surefour, no one on him in the backline. And this is a problem where compLexiy, they need to throw someone on Surefour. You can't let him be uncontested in the back. Certainly not on the 76 that can do so much damage when you're not hiding behind a shield. But compLexiy, in the end, they have to back out and re-go at this one more time. But it's a gigantic hold from C9 here. It buys them all sorts of time and now opens up the possibility of getting that first point hold here. But there's the EMP and compLexiy moving right in.
You just see all of that, and I mean, I have to say that was one of those plays that you read it like an open book. But despite that, though, not much that they could have done to stop it. Now you are going to have Joe Meister busting out that sound barrier. JKW cleaning up too. coL and Adam were the ones to fall there, and they are going to hold this point. Now, like what JKW did, he just got right in Rib's face, said, you are not going to try and challenge this. I'm going to be the one to fight you instead, and they're able to secure that objective, thus beginning the Streets phase.
Streets phase is underway, but again, for C9, they made compLexiy pay for that. compLexiy had to commit a whole lot of ultimate to take that point, and it still took them about 2 minutes, so it's really not the worst look here for C9. And you take a look at their defense, Surefour, where else would you find him here but all the way on top, the biggest high ground in the game, and he's just going to be up here at 76, dodging hooks and looking to lay in the poke, but very lucky he wasn't taken out there. Discord Orb almost spelling his doom.
That Discord Orb, man, will shred you, but there goes the Nano Visor, and here comes Surefour looking to just rain down destruction, finds a couple and throws some shots down, but luckily for him, he has teammates to pick up the slack. That's going to be 2 as well, and a full clear here. Harblu pretty much the last man, and he actually was coming off of the respawn, so that was just a complete clear and a great hold yet again for Cloud9.
And for C9, this is what you want to have a nice involved defense. Now, they still have 3 minutes to go in point B here. It's going to take a while for them to actually secure this out, but again, you take a look at their ult situation, it's not bad. coL's going to be coming in from the back, sends his mech skyward, self-destruct on the way, taken out by Nicholas, and doesn't actually get as much as he's looking for, but the distraction does allow Surefour to win the soldier-on-soldier action. Now he's just flanking from the back, picks up 2, and C9 just going to swarm this back line. Mendo and Defensive Tracer actually getting quite a bit done here, and compLexiy going to have to back off and regroup, and JKW, it's a nice charge to try and back out, but not quite enough.
Surefour was just all over that man, and that, I mean, it showed in the kill feed because they were just picking up those kills as quickly as they could, but most importantly, just the sheer damage and the brilliant tracking there from Surefour as well really just gave him the upper hand in that battle. And when he was able to actually take out was that Nicholas early on, that act with, because he had the visor out open and available, that hurt them quite a bit. But speaking of visor, Surefour activates his, or it was going to activate his, but he got nano boosted and then focused on right away by JKW, who's now just trying his best to push this payload forward with his teammates, as Rib is going to be in the back line. JKW keeping an eye on that one here as progress continues. Now here comes Rib for the fight. Is he going to pin him against the wall? Charges right in there, but Rib falls right off, and this is going to be a potential hold here for compLexiy if they keep going like this, because JKW's in a bit of a bad spot, but they need to be able to give him that support, and because of that, JKW keeps this one going. And I have to say, man, just some impressive tank play thus far, even though Rib caught him with a fire strike from downtown. But despite that, very good job.
Well, the problem that compLexiy had, though, in that push is that they weren't able to sustain it. Why? No one is able to deal with Mendo here. The only person that can actually deal with him effectively is Harblu. So long as Mendo avoids Harblu, he's just been having himself the time of his life in the back, getting kill after kill, being an entirely large pest. And again, you look at the compLexiy setup that they have here, no one can actually deal with Mendo short of Harblu. Maybe he gets hit by a random sleep dart and goes from there, but I kind of feel like they need to get a McCree or a Soldier, just something that can apply more pressure to Mendo right now, because, like I said, he's coming in from the back, and as long as he avoids Harblu, there's nothing that can stop him right now.
Well, here comes the initiation here. Joe Meister with the sound barrier, and they're going to find themselves too with that one, as well as removing coL from the equation with that. But never mind, actually, the self-destruct finds Harblu above, and he will be able to get right back into this one. So coL and the rest of C9 were able to hold this one off with 10 seconds left on the clock. CP, the pressure is on. They do have the ult advantage, but they have to get there. And look at JKW finding 4, but then in comes Rib from behind. Just was not expecting that, and that is going to be a hold. GG, man. That was a great round of Eichenwald there.
I gotta say, the caster's curse is absolutely a thing, because I'm sitting here praising Mendo for being a big part of that C9 defense. And what does he do immediately after? After I've said that really only Harblu can take him out, he blinks right into a Reinhardt swinging a hammer at someone else, eats the back end of the hammer, and just falls over. But he did do enough in that push that C9 was able to hold on. They bought themselves all sorts of time, and now compLexiy really on the hot seat here, where For this map to go their way, they're probably going to have to bank on getting the first point hold, but as we've seen with Eichenwald, even today, getting the first point hold, incredibly rare, very difficult, requires immaculate defense, and honestly an offense that looks a little bit lost, and thus far C9 has looked anything but.
This is now the second map in a row where compLexiy has really gotten shut out at the middle point of the middle part of the second point. And Cloud9, I think, is really winning in the meta picks right now. I actually agree with you, ZP, that they probably should have gone McCree instead of going quad tank, which we've seen has some success earlier against FaZe. But I think, as we've seen with games of Misfits, Tracer can do a lot of damage against a lot of tanks. I would have rather them go McCree instead of quad tank. They really were not able to get much done, and now they're on the ropes of going down 0-2. And if they do that, I don't see them being able to come back and win 3 straight.
Reverse sweeps really hard to do in pretty much any venue, whether it be esports, traditional sports, or otherwise, because usually it means that you're getting outplayed to be in that hole to begin with. And again, I mean, compLexiy has had C9's number in the past, but thus far C9's been playing very well, and I will note that the Tracer play coming out from C9 there sort of hits on a weak point of compLexiy in general, where if compLexiy is getting out team comped, they're not very quick to actually switch up and deal with it, where, you know, we were just mentioning that the McCree would have been a little bit better. They didn't really have that in their playbook, and they just sat there and let Mendo do whatever he wanted.
All right, folks, well, here we go as we start up this next round of play. Can compLexiy hold them off? 1 point and some progress on the payload is all that C9 needs to do, and the wall comes through, and I couldn't tell if they were able to section off anyone out of that one, because it seemed like the whole crew came through at the same exact time. Luckily for them, they just focus on them so quickly, and that is going to pick up 2 right away. Losing Rib early on, I'm sure, is going to hurt them. Surefour able to clear up 1, but regardless of the fact, though, this is looking very, very good here for C9 as they push this one back now, and or I should say, excuse me, for compLexiy, as they push this one back for the time being, and C9 has to regroup and react.
So C9, they're going to be coming back in relatively quickly here. Respawns are back in and on the way. compLexiy, though, they are backing up. They're giving some degree of space, but they're not giving up the point. Harblue in a fight here, a brawl, if you will, with Surefour in the back line. D.Va, though, going to be joining the fray. They know that Harblue's a big threat, and they're just trying to isolate him out. KaiKai, though, is he biting off more than he can chew? It is a big one-on-one here in the back, and no, KaiKai going to win that one-on-one versus Harblue, and now, without Harblue's support, Cloud9 in a great position to take this point.
Oh, and throws it back there, is able to find Joe Meister with that self-destruct, and that is just going to be a stop and a clear. Not today, they say. Cloud9 gets control of the point and 1 on the board. All they have to do is get right to that yellow checkpoint, and it will be GG here on this round. Can they do it? Not a lot of distance, like this certainly was a round for Cloud9, man, because they have just been on fire.
C9, it's been really hard for compLexiy to stop them here. compLexiy will have 3 ultimates up for this next fight. But note where compLexiy has to defend this. compLexiy has to be very far up in their defense. They can't really go on the high ground like they'd want to, because they have to contest every part of this payload. They don't have that much wiggle room to work with here. They did not get it to second point themselves, so they have to be the iron wall, and they're going to do just that. Blizzard coming out here from compLexiy as they push into C9.
Yeah, and a sound barrier to boot, so they're really looking to commit into this fight here and do some work. But in comes the sound barrier for Cloud9, courtesy of Adam. KaiKai is going to be in a bad position, but it won't really matter because Mendo is going to find himself 3 KaiKai with the cleanup crew on JKW, and they are so close. They could smell it right around the bend, and that will be it for this round and for this game on Eichenwald. ZP, it's getting really close to the wire here. compLexiy has to do something now.
They do have to do something now, and unfortunately for compLexiy, that's the entire dynamic where if Harblue doesn't land an early hook, it's really rough for them to have the damage to deal with C9. Now, Rib is down early on this fight, but Mendo still holding to his Dragon Blade. C9, they have 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. I agree with what they're doing here, where they're just backing out. They could have burned some ultimates and tried to go for that, and who knows, maybe they could have won it, but why take that fight without Rib when you have such a huge advantage in time right now? You still have 3 ultimates up and at the ready, and you can just sort of slam into compLexiy here in just a moment.
Yeah, credit to Harblue there, who came up on the bridge and was able to hook Rib and bring him to his, make him fall to his death. That was unfortunate, but yeah, you know, and again, C9, right? It takes a lot to be able to say like, all right, this is it. We're not going to win this fight. Let's just hold it back. We have so much time left. Let's just make this one work. They have 3 ults. They have Mendo with the Dragon Blade, and expect Mendo to go in when the opportunity calls for it here. coL also has the self-destruct. So this fight is just so dangerously close here for compLexiy. But here you go. Mendo is going to dive right in there. Rib will find himself an Earth Shatter as well. Adam and Mendo and coL and the rest of C9 are having their way with compLexiy. Joe, I give you all the credit in the world, brother, but it ain't going to happen. And that will do it. C9 takes Eichenwald 2-1.
And that last engage, that was a complete team effort there from C9. Everyone dove in at pretty much the same point. They isolated compLexiy when they were in a bad positioning, and you can't really credit any one individual person there. It was just good team play coming out from C9, and they caught compLexiy off guard. Now, in fairness, compLexiy really had to defend in a very awkward position. Normally they would have defended a little bit further back. They would have used the high ground more, but because of where the payload was, due to an attack that just wasn't that effective, they didn't have that luxury on the defense. And man, speaking of Mendo, dash, reset, picking up 3, and big part of why C9 was able to cut through there. So C9, one more game away from moving on into the grand finals.
So I believe coming into this series that compLexiy would actually be a pretty good matchup in terms of their comps, just like they gave trouble to FaZe. But in turn, it's been Cloud9 giving compLexiy the issues. One, it's been Cloud9 running dive comp, which compLexiy has not really had an answer to on defense. And as soon